that be down for whatever, what's not. Clown ninjas who think they so clever, what's real? A king that'll rap for his queen. What it ain't is a broad that always gotta be seen. What I mean is, if you got something real, better act right. Build an empire, get your stacks right. Got my facts right. Now the truth got you living in fear. I thought I warned you, after laughter comes tears. You should've known. Yeah, you should've known better. Yeah, you're dealing with the real one. You should've known better. Yeah, I said you're dealing with the real one. Should've known better. Yeah, you're dealing with the real one. Yeah, you should've known better. Let me talk to this one. Yo, hey, say this is for the fraudulent, the fakers and the posers playing make-believe, but only they know it. Yeah, you, the ones who talk a lot, but ain't really saying nothing. Need the light all on they spot to feel hot. Yeah, you, the that's like my sister, that's my best friend for real. Word to everything, there's nothing there to feel. Yeah, your vibes say different. See, you ain't really innocent. Now I'ma let it slide, but you should be careful what's real. I'm too experienced for the games, too grown to be playing, trying to figure things out, son. I'm here planting seeds, so if your soul ain't...
One time. Yo, all I need is one mic, one beat, one stage, one nigga front, my face on the front page. Only if I had one gun, one girl and one crib, one God to show me how to do things. It's Sunday.
By the way, shouts out to Mo Cheese, or Mo Cheeks. I'm sorry, Mo Cheeks for 3. Got on this, looked like an Air Force uniform. Thank you for your service, sir. Thank you. Hey, welcome back to the show. Hey, so I got a big announcement at the end of today's episode, man. So around 12:45, make sure you're tuned in and listening. I should have teased this already. But at 12:45, the last segment of the day, man, I got a big announcement for you, man. A big announcement, so stay tuned. All right. So stay tuned for that, man. Have y'all heard about this story? David Stern, former NBA Commissioner David Stern, says he is convinced that marijuana does have medical qualities and should be taken off the league's list of banned substances. I didn't even know that. I thought that if you had a doctor's note saying that you're using this marijuana for medical purposes, that it was good, that you could use it despite the sport. But evidently not. Even if you had some type of doctor's statement saying that, yeah, I prescribe medical or marijuana for medicinal purposes, that you're good, but evidently that's not the case. Here's a quote. He says, "I'm now at the point where personally I think it probably should be removed from the ban list. You persuaded me," Stern told Harrington. What's the writer's name? Al Harrington. In a documentary on Uninterrupted. Stern sat down for an interview with the former NBA player who has become a medical marijuana entrepreneur and advocate. "I'm now at the point where personally I think it probably should be removed from the ban list. Once again, you persuaded me. It was generally known at some point until we tightened the rules that a lot of our players were smoking a lot of marijuana." He says that, I guess, in kind of like a tongue-in-cheek type of way. But, man, if you've been around sports long enough and know anybody that's played in the NBA and talked to them off the record, man, like it almost came across, we were with a radio station 10, 12, 13 years ago when we first started in, 2005 in that area, man, that pretty much the way it kind of came across, and, we can't verify it, like they made it seem like pretty much 95% of NBA players smoke weed on a daily. I don't know if that's the case or what, man. And now you hear about all of these, benefits of marijuana these days, and you think about the schedule that NBA players have, a lot of nights playing back-to-back, And they'll say, weed is from the earth, what the rosters say. It's natural, and it gives some redeeming qualities. And so, man, I would never tell, who told me that, man, but I've talked to several NBA players, man, in the past that said, man, everybody in the NBA smoke weed. Like, everybody. 9 out of 10 players in the NBA smoke weed. And so David Stern was kind of talking about that. It was generally known at some point until we tightened the rules that a lot of our players were smoking a lot of marijuana. Stern told Harrington. In fact, some of our players came to us and said, some of these guys are high coming into the game. But we began tightening it up, and at that time, people accepted the general held wisdom that marijuana was a gateway drug and that if you start smoking, you'll be liable to go, or you're liable to go on to a bigger and better thing. And but he says perceptions has changed, man, and he feels like that the NBA should, slacken up on that rule for medical marijuana and go ahead and let the players do it. And I don't know what it takes or what kind of test you have to go through to qualify for getting medical marijuana, but I'm sure that NBA players with all their money and resources can find a doctor somewhere that's licensed to write them a prescription. So that's interesting. And guess what? I do think that that these laws and these rules concerning marijuana are going to change in the very near future. And as a matter of fact, after the fact, we're going to look back and be like, why did it take them so long? Hey, thanks for calling the Doug Stewart Show. What's your name? Where you calling from? What you want to talk about?
Doug Stewart, what it do? John Fisher in the building, baby.
John Fisher, good morning, brother. How you doing?
I'm doing all right, man. Hey, did you just say weed?
Yeah, I just said weed, your favorite thing.
Yeah. Hey, so I heard about the whole David Stern thing, and, he was talking to Al Harrington. So, but, it's funny that David Stern says this as he's no longer the commissioner. Adam Silver personally says he doesn't think that the policy needs to change. But what David Stern basically at the end of everything said was he thinks that if it's legal in the state that you are in, then it should be legal in the league. Now, the only reason that it's not legal in the league, even with a doctor's note, Doug, is because it's still a federal crime. So once the federal government learns how to tax it and legislate it, then it won't be a federal crime, and then you see leagues starting to implicate, or eradicate the laws. The only sport that doesn't have a drug law is hockey. Like, you can test positive for cocaine in hockey, and they just say, okay, as long as you show up to work on time, we're fine.
Right, yeah, it's crazy, and it makes sense. The whole point that you just made about if it being legal in your state, like why, if you play for that particular team and you're in that state for a home game or whatever, or you're just at your house or whatever during the week at a time when you're playing the game, why are you different than any other citizen in that state? It doesn't make any sense at all.
Well, it has to do with, I guess, what people particularly allow in their workplace. Just because, I may work a desk job in Seattle, and just because it's legal out there doesn't mean that my desk job is going to let me come to work high as hell.
Yeah,
So,
but here's the thing about it, though. If you have a doctor's note, per se, for it, and you don't do it, you're not going to do it while you're sitting on the bench of a game. If you do it before the game starts, like, I don't understand why that should be a problem. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree with you, but there's always some type of legal loophole, and because you're going to have players traveling from other cities and other states, and then going and trying to do the same thing in other states, that makes it federal.
Yeah.
That's like the whole thing with with Rick Pitino and all that stuff. Once all that money starts going to different states, it becomes a federal crime.
Right.
And that's the difference in everything. But yeah, I definitely agree with you, man. Hey, look, if it's legal in this state, I should be able to bake whenever I want to bake, especially if I got a card that says, hey, I need this for medicinal purposes. But, there's more people that get killed by drunk driving than there are by people driving high off marijuana, but yet still marijuana is illegal. But alcohol is, and I'm gone, bro.
Hey, appreciate the call. That's John Fisher. Host the show. He actually has his own show on the network on 2LiveStewsRadio.com. He actually has his own show, Cooking with the Microwave. Good point, man. But you see the point I'm making. I understand exactly what he's saying, and I guess I lightweight kind of understand the laws. But my point is, if you have a doctor's note for it, okay, I can understand you not doing drugs at your job, okay, and coming to games high, which, hey, we've heard stories about a lot of these players being high, and they play just as good as better. But if you have a doctor's note for it, it's legal in a lot of states in this country already. If you have a doctor's note for it and you do it before the game starts, what? Now, if you don't have a doctor's note for it, supposedly for medicinal purposes, then I get it. They drug test you and you high, and I get it. But if you got a doctor's note, yeah, being high helps me play better. It loosens me up or whatever. I don't know. I'm not a weed smoker, but I totally think that the laws, and, not even to get into the politics of the laws and 3 strikes and all of that stuff, man, and mandatory minimums and all of that for weed. But I think the laws are going to change very soon. Like, we're getting a lot more understanding of marijuana, clearly, with all of these different states legalizing it, and you got all of these states that have these marijuana shops and all this, that, and the other. My brother will come in here and talk a lot more about it. No, I'm not saying my brother's a weed smoker or anything like that. What I'm saying is he's very into that whole culture of the vapor and the e-cigarettes and all of that stuff. He's actually, involved with a particular company. And so, he always talks about this type of thing. And so I don't know. I just think times are changing, man, and we're progressing. And a lot of the things that we looked at that were super bad 50 years ago, we look back at now and it's nothing. A lot of the things that we railed against, 25 years ago, like it's just commonplace now. You look back at porn 25 years ago and porn today, man, porn today, like you can go on your phone, man, and find 1,000 different free hour-long videos from what I understand. Yeah, so, times are just different, and, we evolve. Right, we evolve. So, we'll see. David Stern, and there might be something political behind his statements, The NBA's probably missing out on a lot of money from businesses and companies that somewhere are tied in to marijuana in this country. It could be a multitude of things. I don't know. But I just think that this law or these rules and the laws in this country, for that matter, they're going to change very, very soon here, man. It just is what it is. Yep. Back in 3 minutes, the Doug Stewart Show. Don't go away.
You're running free but accusing me, burning bridges, selling secrets, covered in mud. That's the way they keep it. Political wars behind closed doors.
Living out here in Babylon, loose them chains, we wanna be free. Fire all inside of me, here in Babylon.
Doctor, tell me how you feel. Blood was man-made, got you aiming for the kill. Baptized in the water from all those tears. Collusion and all the confusion here in Babylon.